As you see, as you can see behind me, things really progressing well, essentially complete. Let me share my presentation here, and I would like to go through a few slides. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes. Yep.
Well, perfect. Here you see probably a fairly familiar artist rendering, and pleased to report that the facility that we've constructed essentially mirrors the artist rendering. So you see a pretty good idea of the entrance road that's coming in to the facility in Northport Avenue, as well as the 460,000 square foot facility. This is our 48th manufacturing facility across the globe. It's our 4th in North America, our 2nd here in the United States. It is situated on approximately 130 acres. So I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of our operations and what folks in the community can expect during the initial startup of our facility. Again, here is a fairly recent drone photo that was taken. We usually have our site flown twice a month, and it's been fun to watch the building emerge over the last several years. But again, I think this particular photo was taken on May 31st, so just really a couple days ago. Just by way of orientation, the large area of the factory in the foreground, that is what's referred to as the hot end of the facility. That's where the furnace is located, where we actually melt the raw materials, predominantly various types of volcanic rock that make up our stone wool insulation. And then it moves down towards the left of the screen to the cold end, where the finished goods end up after the manufacturing process. Here you see our construction and infrastructure development schedule, and as you can see hopefully on the right side of the screen, we're essentially complete. All of the major construction is in place. All of the various infrastructure, including the state road, water, sewer, natural gas, power, and telecommunications, all are on site and are being utilized here at the facility. So whenever Rockwool opens a new factory, we typically have what's known as a running in period. And, we kind of liken it to, buying a new vehicle or any type of new electronic device. Our experience, again, having 48 manufacturing facilities around the world, is that if a mechanical component is going to fail, it's typically going to fail in the first few weeks of operation. And once you get past that running in period, the components that are associated with our factory, they're really designed to last for an extended period of time, up to 40 years or more, obviously with routine maintenance. So that's a bit of what the running in period is about. It's doing some final testing and commissioning of the equipment, all the processes that we have in place to actually produce our stone wool insulation. And it's also an opportunity to conduct final intensive training for our many new colleagues. We have over 100 employees that have been brought on board. We're continuing to ramp up to 150 or more employees by the time we get up to full production. And so it's a good opportunity for them to train on the actual equipment in which they're going to be operating. Many of our machine operators. They have actually trained at some of our other facilities, either here in North America, in some cases, particularly those that are involved in our furnace operations. They've actually trained over in Europe at some of our factories that have the similar fuel flexible technology that allows us to use natural gas as opposed to coal. But again, it's an opportunity for them to actually see the equipment here, that they're going to be working on, and get some of that final training. Last month, actually, I guess 2 weeks or a week ago, Saturday, we actually lit the furnace for the first time and melted our first rocks. And so that was really a big milestone of, actually, starting the furnace operations. We expect the run-in period to last a few months, and it'll overlap with what we call commercial operations that will begin in late June. So later this month is when we'll actually begin commercial production. That's when we'll actually begin producing, packaging, shipping our stone wool insulation to customers. During the running in, probably what might be most noticeable or most recognized would be steam rising, primarily from one of the two tall chimneys. You see here the chimney attached to the WESP, which is the what's recognized as best available control technology, abatement technology, to really capture the particulate matter that's associated with the spinning process. The WESP captures that particulate matter in a very wet environment. And not to get too scientific, and I probably can't go too far beyond what I'll explain, but you may recall from back in physics that the different particles can have different charges. Well, this WESP actually assigns a charge to the particulate matter, and then the electronic filter has the opposite charge. That's what results in a very, very effective abatement technology, is that rather than relying on a physical mechanical filter, it's an electronic filter, so that those particles, once they're assigned that charge, they are captured very effectively by the electronic filter that has the opposite charge. Because it uses a lot of water in that wet environment, that's the stack where you'll typically see some steam, if you'll see it at all. Now, I think since we started melting, and we haven't melted every day since we started, but we've been melting now most days. I think it's probably fair to say. It really, as far as whether that steam is going to be visible, really depends on the weather conditions. So very much like weather conditions in the winter will determine whether you can see emissions from your vehicle, for example. If it's a fairly dry day, that steam evaporates very, very quickly. And again, even though we've been operating here the last several days, virtually non-noticeable as far as the steam from that stack. You will also notice from time to time a plume from the other tall chimney. The other tall chimney is connected to our melting furnace. Again, that's where the rocks are actually melted. Generally, that plume is less visible, though again, it will be based on weather conditions. Overall, I think folks in the community will notice that the factory will be getting busier. Now, keep in mind that we've had probably up to 450, maybe close to 500 employees, depending on the time of the construction process. So it's obviously been a very busy site out here. But now that we're actually beginning some of our preliminary operations, you see trucks that are delivering production materials, again, predominantly stone. With the decision to launch immediately with natural gas as opposed to coal, obviously no need for coal trucks. So a lot of those heavy trucks are no longer part of the equation. The other vehicles that you'll see will be those carrying finished products, when that time comes in late June. And those trucks are, very similar to what you will see delivering finished goods to Walmart, for example, those type of box trucks. We've been very careful and very deliberate in trying to make sure that both those vehicles, those trucks that are delivering raw materials, and then the trucks that will deliver our finished goods, that they avoid traveling in front of North Jefferson Elementary, because we realize that's already a busy stretch of the old Charlestown Road. So as vehicles leave our factory, they will be directed to exit left down to Wilshire Road, and then they'll be able to access Route 9 east or west from the Wilshire Road exit. Same thing with raw material vehicles arriving at our facility. They are instructed to go down to the Wilshire Road exit and then access Northport Avenue from 115 coming from Wilshire Road, again, in order to avoid traffic in front of North Jefferson. Over time, with more than 100 employees, again, probably somewhere in the range of 150 direct employees, other indirect employees like security, landscaping, and so forth, there will be additional car traffic. Once we're even now, I think, although right now during running in, we're primarily operating during the morning and afternoon, early evening shifts. Eventually, we do anticipate having 3 shifts, so we will have those staff. A good number of them will be kind of spread out among those 3 shifts. So a little different look as far as busyness, but still there will be traffic associated with those, both our employees and the delivery and receipt of goods here at the site. Here you see just a little bit of the production process, and I have a short little video that I think you might enjoy. It's only a couple minutes. Some of you may have seen it before, but starting down at the bottom left-hand corner, again, the primary ingredients are natural stones. Our permit doesn't allow us to use waste material, slags that come from the steel industry. However, that's not in our current plan to use that. So essentially, our raw materials are going to be the stones that are described, as well as recycled wool from the production process itself here at the factory. So as we're trimming the product into a finished product, that's really a big part of our sustainability process, is to recycle all of those scrap stone wool fragments and actually use those in producing our stone wool insulation. Our fuel, again, while we use a variety of fuels at our various factories, this factory will be 100% natural gas combined with oxygen. We do use resin as a binder, for the stone wool insulation products. You can see heated up to 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit, you essentially make molten rock. That molten rock is injected into a high-speed spinner. Those fibers, it's almost like a cotton candy machine, looking at the process. But those fibers are collected. They're inserted through a curing oven. They're cooled, and then the cutting, marking, packaging, loading, and so forth, takes place. Again, I'm very proud that we're using, state-of-the-art abatement technologies that have allowed us to fully comply with all of our air permit regulations. I think it's important to note, as you see there, in the 3 different types of abatement technologies, those are specific to the area of the production process, so that in each case we're using highly effective abatement technology there. And here's that video that I was describing.
Rockwool North America manufacturing facilities are strategically located across Canada and the United States. Each of our facilities consists of a hot end process and a cold end process. The hot process area is where the natural rock and recycled material are melted, spun into individual fibers, combined with our unique binding agent, and formed into raw bats. As these raw bats move along conveyors, they're cooled and trimmed in preparation for the transition to the cold process section of the plant. In the cold process section, the raw bats are cut, trimmed, and compressed to meet the exact specifications for the insulation product being produced. The finished insulation bats are then arranged and stacked as they move to the automated bagging area, where the product is packaged, stacked on shipping pallets, and shrink-wrapped for shipment. The pallets are then moved to the warehouse to be stored before being loaded onto trucks. At Rockwool, we're proud of the efficiency and productivity of our manufacturing facilities. Our plants are so much more than just the machinery. They are a balanced combination of the latest technology and equipment, as well as people working together to ensure the highest standards of employee safety and product quality. Our continuous quality control testing ensures that the products we're producing meet our high-quality standards. But perhaps the most critical component in any of our manufacturing facilities is our employees and the culture of teamwork they create. Every Rockwool employee can count on having a manager who supports them and a team of co-workers who help each other succeed. State-of-the-art equipment, the latest technology, a dedicated team of highly trained employees, and a commitment to safety. That's what makes a Rockwool manufacturing facility such a great place to work. Are you ready for a career that makes a difference? Visit rockwool.com/westvirginia/jobs.
So we'll point out that we've been very, very pleased with the caliber of the employees that we have been able to attract, and really fortunate that the training that they've received here locally at Blue Ridge Community and Technical College has just been excellent. And the reviews we've received from our European specialists who are overseeing the final commissioning and turn up of our equipment here, just very, very impressed with the caliber of the employees. Just the fact that they don't really, they don't sit back and wait for someone to solve an issue. When they see something that needs to be addressed, they're just very, very impressed with the caliber of the employees. And while we are over 100 employees, we still have some positions available. So certainly if you or associates or you have you're familiar with folks that may be looking for a role, machine operators, I think we still need some warehouse folks, some yard technicians, which essentially are heavy equipment operators like forklift operators. We do have some of those roles still available. Here's a little video that I shot actually yesterday right here at Ranson. So you can see this is part of the running end process. You see some of the stone wool panels that are actually being produced. These are all test production right now. These products will be analyzed just to make sure they have the right composition and so forth. And once we get the seal of approval from the various certification agencies, then we'll actually be able to package them and ship them to our customers. John, you have a question maybe, or not? I thought you raised your hand. Okay. And that kind of wraps up the PowerPoint presentation I have. So let me stop that here for a second. Are there any questions before I thought maybe I'd actually walk out here on the production floor so that you can see for yourself what the plant looks like inside. I'm going to stop my video here.
Paul, I don't know if you covered this part, but where are most of your customers located? Is that local? Is that just throughout the country? Where for the plant here in Ranson, what's the goal for distribution?
Yeah, that's a good question, Chris. This factory primarily is designed to serve the eastern United States, although our products will be shipped wherever in the United States that they're needed. But it is strategically located here close to the mid-Atlantic and northeast United States, because that's where we're seeing probably the greatest amount of growth and demand for our products.
All right. Any other questions for Paul? I think he might be on the move.
I have
There you
a
go.
I have a technical question. This is Jen. So it looks like, does your insulation come in like different R values? And it looked like they came in different prepackaged sizes. So how, like if you're a contractor using your product, you know, with the old type of insulation, you could just easily cut it down. How does it work with your guys' insulation?
It does. It has an R value just like other products that you might have. Let me switch my camera around here so you can see what I'm seeing here. You have an R value on those products that are wrapped on the outside of the packaging, and depending on what R value you need, in some cases, you know, I've seen where you'll use multiple layers of a product. I was actually watching This Old House this past Saturday morning. Yep, I'm a little bit of a building and construction geek, but was watching This Old House this morning or Saturday morning, and they were putting roofing, I think, up in one of the colder northeast climes, and they were actually using a couple layers of one of our products in order to achieve the R value they're looking for. So rated just like other insulation products are.
Gotcha. Thanks.
So kind of walking up here through the bagging area. And so this is a part of the factory where, you know, you'll have the finished products will be put in their final packaging. Going to walk over here, and they're just really starting to get started up this afternoon with some of the production. My understanding was that they were going to start actually melting stone as part of this running in process. They were going to start that at about noon. So any time now, should probably start to see some stone wool. Probably won't have it here before we end today's meeting, but again, you can see a pretty good vantage point from here, just kind of describing what you're seeing. We're right at the beginning of the cold section of the plant, which is about halfway down the plant, you know, from the tall chimneys that I showed in one of the initial pictures, you know, down towards the other end of the factory. And so this is where the stone wool that you saw was coming out of the curing oven, just on the other side of that wall there in the far right, coming down. And then at that point, it's cut into different shapes and sizes, depending on what product we'll make. We'll make a series of products here at our Ransom facility, everything from wall boards to the comfort bat that actually fits inside, you know, the wall cavities. You know, I think at least you know, a half a dozen or more different products. So as that insulation kind of makes its way, you know, through that cutting process, then it travels around depending on how it's going to be ultimately packaged. It'll either, you know, go into one of these packaging machines. I think our comfort bat product. Hopefully, you can see our comfort bat product. It'll be actually inserted in these bags here. As far as some of our other products, like our wall board, it's actually stacked on the pallets and you know, shrink wrap, you know, for delivery to customers. So again, a little bit kind of the calm before the storm here, you know, before we actually start some of the test production today, but hopefully you can get a little sense as to you know, what the factory looks like from inside. And certainly our full expectation here, now that we're starting to emerge from the pandemic, we're very much looking forward to the time later this year where we could actually get you out here on site so you can tour the facility yourself and be able to actually, see it in operation. That's going to be a big part of our community involvement, is to, help folks understand, what the facility, entails. We are going to have an experience center, a brand experience center here at our Ransom facility. It's really our first brand experience center that'll be here in North America, and it'll be a facility that should be complete. I think it's going to be probably early August is when they'll have that brand experience center complete, and then folks will be actually, particularly our customers, will be able to come out, see how the product is made, and understand what some of the benefits of our stone wool insulation are, which are the predominant benefits of our insulation over other types of insulation that folks may choose from. One is it's non-combustible, which particularly in the mid-Atlantic and Northeast United States, as building codes increasingly call for non-combustible building materials. Our stone wool insulation, it's made from rock, therefore it does have excellent non-combustible properties. And then the other big advantage of our product is the sound absorption. A lot of folks really appreciate being able to use our insulation for its sound absorbing qualities. So Chris, that's kind of in a nutshell what we what our facility looks like here. Again, be happy to respond to any other questions that folks might have, and but definitely want to be respectful of people's time.
Paul, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Can you remind me of how many employees at capacity is expected at Rockwool, and where are you all in that mix? How many do you have right now?
Sure. We have over 100 that have already been hired, that have been brought aboard, and we are ramping up here to right around 150. Probably, and Julia, I think that was you that asked that question. I apologize, a little hard to hear where I'm at right now. But we actually anticipate we're probably going to be a little over 150, particularly in the early going, but about 150 direct. We estimate probably another 150 indirect, just because we will have, our housekeeping, for example. All those are our contract staff, our security, landscaping, and so forth. So we anticipate probably another 150 indirect, but that's what we've committed to and fully anticipate that we'll have likely at least 150 employees.
Great.
You can see actually some first, let's, if we got another second here, Chris, how are we doing on time? I see a little stone wool coming down the line.
Yeah, we got a couple. We have a couple. We have a couple minutes.
You say we're okay?
Yeah.
Hopefully you can see some of that coming down the line, Chris?
Yeah, over to the left there. Yes. Yep.
And again, this running in process is really designed to just be testing the equipment, based on each day's run. Our specialists go back and, make little adjustments with the equipment. They're also testing different types of products too. Each product design that requires a slightly different chemistry in the melt that we're producing. And that's obviously achieved through varying the ingredients to based on the product that we're manufacturing. So that's part of this process too, is to test each of the products that we're going to be producing on a long-term basis and just fine tuning the equipment to make sure that it's working as designed. All right, Chris, well, back to you unless we have questions.
Are there any questions out there?
Chris, let me just add on to the prayer from earlier. Heavenly Father, we ask God to watch over this plant and all those working there and bringing in and distributing the product, keep them safe as they go day to day, providing the service to our community and our country and the world. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, John. Paul, great presentation. Thank you for being on. I mean, it's an impressive facility. And yeah, really do appreciate you showing us the insides, ins and outs, and the video was great too. So appreciate that. I hadn't seen it before. So that was all good information for us.
Well, really look forward to getting everybody out here, Chris, and appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Couple of quick announcements.